For 4 billion years, a single, silent eye has watched over our world, anchoring our tides and steadying our axis. We have grown accustomed to this solitary pale companion, believing it to be the only possible rhythm for our planet. But imagine waking up to a sky where the shadows are cast in two directions, and the night is never truly dark. What if our celestial equilibrium was shattered by the arrival of a second interloper? And how would the introduction of a new gravitational titan rewrite the very laws of biological and technological survival? The stability of Earth is a delicate mathematical miracle, a precise calculation of mass, velocity, and distance. Introducing a second moon is not merely an aesthetic change to our night sky. It is the injection of a massive gravitational variable into a system that has spent eons finding its balance. Scientists and theorists often ponder the three-body problem, a chaotic enigma where the predictable paths of celestial objects become a tangled web of uncertainty. If a second moon were to be captured by Earth's embrace, the first casualty would be the silence of our tectonic plates. With two moons pulling at our planet from different angles, the internal heat of the Earth would begin to spike. Gravitational friction, a phenomenon where the literal rock of our planet is stretched and squeezed, would trigger a surge in volcanic activity. We often look at Io, the moon of Jupiter, and see a world turned into a Hell's Cape by the tidal forces of its parent planet. Earth would experience a milder but significant version of this, a restless crust where earthquakes become a daily rhythm rather than a rare tragedy. The arrival of a second moon is the awakening of a sleeping giant beneath our feet. Our oceans, currently governed by the predictable pull of our singular moon, would descend into a liquid labyrinth. Imagine tides that do not simply rise and fall, but collide. Rogue waves the size of skyscrapers birth from the constructive interference of two competing gravitational pulls. Coastal cities, the cradles of our modern civilization, would find themselves under a constant, unpredictable siege of water. The very concept of a shoreline would become obsolete as the sea becomes a shifting, restless entity, constantly searching for a center of gravity that no longer stays in one place. Life on Earth has evolved to the beat of a single lunar drum. From the migration of sea turtles to the reproductive cycles of coral reefs, the moon is a biological metronome. The introduction of a second light source in the night sky would create a catastrophic desynchronization. Nocturnal hunters would find their camouflage useless under the doubled brilliance of a binary lunar system, while prey would have no shadows left to hide in. Evolution would be forced into a high-speed race to adapt to a world where the night is nearly as bright as the day, fundamentally altering the food chain from the bottom up. One of our moon's most vital, yet unsung, roles is acting as a stabilizer for Earth's axial tilt. Without it, our planet would wobble like a dying top, causing the North Pole to occasionally point directly at the sun. A second moon introduces a tug-of-war that could either lock us into a new stability or, more likely, throw our seasons into a chaotic spin. We might face centuries of eternal winter followed by decades of blistering, unyielding summer. The predictable seasons that allowed for the birth of agriculture would vanish, replaced by a climate that operates on a logic we are not yet equipped to understand. In our modern age, the space surrounding Earth is crowded with the delicate machinery of the digital era, satellites that govern everything from GPS to global finance. Luna Secunda would turn this orbital path into a shooting gallery. Its gravity would perturb the orbits of thousands of satellites, sending them spiraling into the atmosphere or out into the void. Furthermore, the space between the two moons would likely become a collection point for cosmic debris. A ring of dust and rock could form, creating a shimmering but deadly barrier that could potentially trap humanity on the surface, effectively ending the era of space exploration before it truly began. Human culture and navigation were built upon the stars and the phases of a single moon. A second moon would mean a second set of phases, a second calendar, and a complex interplay of light and dark. Our ancestors used the moon to track time. A binary system would make time feel nonlinear, a shimmering overlap of two different cycles. Navigators at sea would have to master a new geometry, calculating their position against two moving targets. The psychological impact of a double moon would likely birth entirely new mythologies, religions, and philosophies centered around the themes of duality, conflict, and balance. If such an event were predicted, humanity's only hope for survival would be the ultimate technological feat: orbital engineering. We would have to become architects of the heavens, using massive solar sails or kinetic impactors to tune the orbit of the second moon. This is where science meets the realm of the impossible, treating celestial bodies not as untouchable deities, but as components in a planetary life support system. The arrival of a second moon would be the ultimate test of our species. Do we succumb to the chaos of the tides, or do we learn to steer the gears of the solar system itself? There are whispers in the geological record that Earth may have had mini-moons, or temporary companions in the distant past. Small asteroids captured for a few hundred years before being flung back into the dark. These fleeting ghosts suggest that our current arrangement is not the only way things could have been. Perhaps we are currently living in a rare moment of celestial solitude. By studying the theoretical impact of a second moon, we aren't just engaging in a what-if scenario. We are analyzing the structural integrity of our own existence and the fragility of the peace we take for granted. We often view our planet as a solid, unchanging fortress, but it is actually a high-speed vessel balanced on the edge of a gravitational knife. A second moon is a reminder that the universe is not a static gallery, but a dynamic, often violent laboratory. It forces us to appreciate the boring consistency of our single moon, which has provided the stable cradle necessary for the rise of consciousness. The logic of a two-moon Earth is a logic of upheaval, adaptation, and the relentless drive of life to find a way, even when the heavens themselves are divided. The thought of a second moon serves as a profound mirror, reflecting the delicate fine-tuning of our reality. It suggests that our existence is not just a product of biology, but of a specific, narrow window of astronomical harmony. As we look to the future, where we might one day engineer the moons of other planets or capture asteroids to serve as orbital outposts, we must ask ourselves, are we ready to play the role of the stabilizer? The universe is vast, and the arrival of a new companion is always a possibility. If the sky were to change tomorrow, would we see it as the end of our world or the beginning of a new, more complex era of human ingenuity? The shadows are beginning to shift, and the tides are waiting for the next command. The eye in the sky is watching, but it may not be alone for much longer.